Welcome back, everybody, to the Unconditional Surrender, me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event. The game is published by GMT Games and was designed by Salvatore Vasta. We are about ready to embark upon April of 1942. With the alternate weather rules, there are only two choices. In March, April, for the cold zone, it either is poor or severe, and it cannot be what it was in March. So since it was severe in March, it becomes poor in April. In the mild zone, it was poor. There is a possibility of it being fair. If I roll a 1, 4 through a 6, it will be severe. It cannot be poor, so I will re-roll a 2 or a 3. So the die roll for the mild zone is a 2. I have to re-roll that because I can't have 4 twice in a row. A 3, I get to re-roll it again. A 1, fair. Okay, so the mild zone is fair. And in the warm zone, it cannot be severe, so it will either be poor or fair, depending on the die roll. I rolled a 4, which is poor, so that is allowed. And that is our weather for this turn. Declaration of war, the Axis is done with that. The Western Allies aren't ready to declare war again, nor are the Soviets. Economy phase, just a quick recap of the national tracks. I've already calculated everything out. Russia is up to 22 production points. The UK is up to 18. The Germans were at 28 when you calculate how much they would have had, but they gave one to the Romanians, and they gave an extra one to the Hungarians to let them move some more stuff around and whatnot. So that's the economy phase for everybody. We go to strategic warfare phase. The Russians are at +2 because of my conquered countries. I am at +1 because of this airplane up here in Stavanger. So the Germans roll. A 2 plus 1 is a 3. I guess I should check. The Germans don't have anything that they can play in strategic warfare, and neither do the Russians. So that's why that's that way. So the Germans rolled a 3. The Russians rolled a 3 plus 2 is a 5. And a 3 to a 5 is the Germans' factory loss marker goes up 1. So back up to 2 they go. Now in the next phase, the Germans are at +3. The British are at 2 because of the United States being in. And the British do have Partisans marker, Free Forces, and Ultra. Partisans can only be played in conquered countries, friendly countries of yours that were conquered. I don't have a whole lot of those, so I'm going to go ahead and play the Partisans in this strategic warfare so that the German die roll is halved. And the Germans don't have anything to play. So the Germans roll. A 3 plus 3 is a 6. Halved makes it a 3. And the British roll. A 2 plus 2 is a 4. So we check the combat results table, and we have a 3 to a 4, and it is a diamond. So both sides get their factory loss markers go down 1. So the Germans are back to where they were before. And the British are down another 1. They only have 4 lost factories. So they're doing rather well so far in the strategic warfare. And then the West has to roll a die for their partisans. So they roll a die, they get a 6. They won't see them for a very long time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They will see them in October of 1942. So it's going to be a while. And that takes care of strategic warfare. Strategic movement. Did I well, it's out on the board somewhere. Where did I do that? Does anybody remember where I sent the German strategic movement marker? Ah, there it is. That's right, I did the airplane thing. So, put that back on the card. really don't see a strategic move anywhere that makes any sense. I suppose I could take this garrison unit off of Bremen, but I don't think I want to do that quite yet. Yeah, I think I will. So I will do this. Grab the street marker, put it on this guy, and take this garrison unit and just run him into Cherbourg. Just so I have something physically in the port for the invasion that is to come. Okay, that's the axis. The west doesn't really have anything. The only thing I need to do is take it off this guy here. I really don't see any strategic movement for them. So that's them. And the Soviets, I can't remember. I don't think I had one last turn. No, I didn't use it last turn, and I still don't see a need for it this turn. I don't see any good place to do one. So, we're done. And we're into operations phase for the Germans. Okay, the Germans' national track is at 26 right now. Well, first thing we have to do, of course, it is poor weather, so it's -2 to all the air combat die rolls. So this sortie 3, he's +2 for German, -2 for the weather, and then -3 more, so that puts him at 0 and puts him -3 for his sorties. And he's going to do an airstrike. The Russians are at all of their guys are at 4, with an extra -2 for the weather. They're all going to just be able to roll 1. So it's a matter of whether the Germans roll high enough. With -3 sorties attacking this one that's in reserve, I need to get... boy, my brain is just turned off there. I need to get a 6 in order to get a 2 for 1, otherwise it's even exchanges. So the die roll here is a 3, so we each take 1. So, boo-hoo. Velaluki will go up 1, and this guy will also go up another 1 to make this guy go to 6. And I think the guy in the center is fine. We're going to do this. Or do I want to? I think I use Velaluki. This guy has more range to make this guy go to 6 as well. And then in the south we have the same thing. I'm going to try and get this guy to get a 2 for 1 on the airplane in Rostov. So I need to roll a 6, otherwise that doesn't work. I rolled a 2, so that doesn't work. So I take a sortie there, and he takes a sortie. And then... where do we want to go? He'll take another sortie to put this guy to 6. And in this guy here, we'll just trade sorties with this Russian airplane back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, Russian aircraft are all made ineffective. The Germans still have a couple aircraft, which I probably will save for the Russian attacks. Assaults. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to make this one. I want to make this one better, but I can't. He would be a 3. I could just throw the tanks marker in there. Yeah, let's do this. So, 1, 2, 3 production points. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do assaults. I think I'm just going to go ahead and resolve this one, because like this one and this one are just like sort of automatic. There's no teasing of the units, so to speak. So we go to combat commitment at this point. The Germans are going to go ahead and toss in their tanks marker. The Russians would, except it's a shock army, so they're not allowed to. So that gives the Germans, let's start from scratch here. The Germans are +2 because they're German. The 10th here is the primary. And then he has 2 buddies helping in this assault on the first shock army. So that's another +2. Then I throw in my tanks marker for an extra +1. He is an elite shock army, so he's at +1. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in my tanks marker, which got me up to +5. Then I have to subtract 1 because of the weather. And I think that's all I'm going to do right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. I think that's all I'm going to do right now. So close the faction card so I can see the board. Close the national track so I can see the die roll. Ah, yes. Okay. So the Germans are at +4 and the Russians are at +1. The Germans roll a 6 + 4 is a 10. Wow. And the Russians roll a 3 + 1 is a 4. So we better go check that out. A 10 to a 4 is actually a DD result. So not only did he get flipped, retreated, but he's also got flipped. And then the 10th will take the hex. So, yay Germany, we pushed him back in front of Kursk. We've been trading this little bulge here for quite some time, it seems like. The next one to go up, where's my national track, is going to be 1 for the Romanians, and then 2 for the Germans for the 3rd Panzer, and another one for the Germans for the 2nd Army. So these 3 units all get activated and will attack the 12th right there. So we start with the armor as the primary. He starts off as +2 for German, +1 because he's got an armor. I get 1 for my Romanian buddy and 1 for my infantry buddy. He starts off at 0, but he could add in a tanks to make him a +1 if he so desires. Do I take a chance here? I think I'm going to take a chance here as the Russians. I want to save my tanks to possibly help me in counterattacks in the poor weather, because they give me that +1. So it would make my my infantry essentially be elites or armored units to be able to add +2 to an assault, which could be important. So I only have 3 tanks markers. I'm kind of wondering what he's going to do in the north here. I see I have a guy kind of surrounded here at the 23rd, so I might end up losing a step there. So I'm going to save my tanks marker. Nah, I'm Russians. I've got 3. I'm going to go ahead and use 1 here for this for the 12th Army. Thought about trying to save it. It's like, nah, I need to use that. I want to keep that bulge against those Romanians if I can. And then it's -1 for the attacker for the weather. Almost forgot to take that off. So again, we're at that +4 to +1. The Germans roll another 6. So that's a 10. The Russians roll a 3 + 1 is a 4, which is the same result as before, and that's a DD result. So we flipped another Russian. And he has to retreat, but because we don't have mobile attacks, I can't do anything with it. It's not like I can keep pushing and attack. Well, I suppose I could, but that would be silly. I'd have to leave all sorts of holes in my line to do that, and the Russians are formidable enough without doing that. It's a little tricky here in the north. What have I got left in production points? I'm down to 20. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm down to 20. And I got to save at least 12 for my airplanes in Russia. And I got airplanes in Germany, so I might need to try and save 15. I realize it makes me 5. 8 at most. What can I do with 8? Can I do anything? Let's see, he'd be -1, he'd be +2, +1. That'd be 1, 2, 3. So I'd be 2, 3, 4, -2, I'd be +2. It's not worth the attack. I was looking at the third here. It's not worth the attack. I'd be +2 to his +1 if he throws in an armored unit. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could throw in my airplane. I'm thinking of trying to save my airplanes for defense. Because like here against the 4th Panzer, oh boy, such dilemmas. I think we're going to go ahead and spend 3 more for the Germans and 1 for the Hungarians. And 3 more for the Germans. I don't have anything to mobilize yet, but that leaves me a couple points for step losses and still being able to do 5 airplanes. So I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to activate the 4th Panzer, this German unit. The 4th Panzer is going to play a little bit of a dancing game. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Probably not the best thing to do, but we're going to try it. So that means the Panzer starts off at +3, and he gets +1 for his buddies, and then -1 for the weather. So he's at +4 net. The Russians start off at a 0. He cannot retreat, so I really don't want to get a DD result. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in another armored to give myself a +1 in the hopes that I'll only get a DR on me. Otherwise, I'll lose him, which would be bad. I mean, it's a will point. Every will point right now is important because, like I said, the Russian goal is to make it to January of 43 with 1 will point. If they can get to there with at least 1 will point, then they're safe for the rest of the war, and they can just start wave attacking everything in sight. So it's a +4 to a +1. The last 2 times I rolled a 6. I don't think I'm going to do that again. Oh my, something's wrong with Vassal. I swear to God, something's wrong with Vassal. It rolled me another 6, so I'm at a 10. The Russians rolled a 6, which makes it a 7 with their +1. And a 10 to a 7 is only a DR. Right? Yes. Just barely. If he could have rolled 1 less, the Germans, but... So I am flipped because I can't retreat. But it was only a defender retreat, so it really wasn't that bad. So Russians have to, when they plan their attacks, they got to make sure they save 3 to flip these guys back base up. And that's going to basically be the... I got Russian tanks everywhere. Tanks to the left of me, tanks to the right of me, German tanks. I'm going to put these things back on the turn track for May. I just put them on one big stack. I'll pull them out later. Okay. So now, I think I'm going to hang on to my German aircraft and see if I can't foil any Russian comeback attempts, since I've got a couple of sorties on my aircraft that I can use here to give myself a +1. That's the German part of the activation phase. Let's go check down the Middle East. Oh, he's got partisans. Drat. Okay, well, I need to get the Germans to be not in Egypt because I don't want him to... Oh no, he used his partisans in, strategic warfare. So I don't have to worry about partisans. I can just stay in that hex. I was afraid I was going to have to spend a couple production points there. And pretty much that's like it. We're not going to do anything. The weather down here is poor in the warm zone. So that means it's -2 to the Navy combat. So if you look, Alexandria would normally be a straight die roll, but now he'd be -2. Best he can roll is a 4. Best I can roll is a 1. So if he rolls a 5 or a 6, he can get through there. Then he'd go up to 3, and he'd need to be able to roll a 6 in order to stop the supply. So when you do the math, it is not really worth it for Alexandria to intercept this Italian supply here, and they're going to be supplying Algeria, however you say that freaking word, and they will be escorting, so their fleet will go up by 1, and their sortie here goes up by 1. Then the British just say, nah, that isn't worth it. It's just not worth their time. Get clear weather, they'll move some ships in, it might be worth it at that point. And then the Italians do these two. Control S. There we go. And that's for the Africa Army and the guy that's sitting in Tobruk. So, and then the 2 low supplies come out of Tripoli. And we are done with that. Got to go up to Norway here and check on. Let's see, I'm going to have 15. If I end up with 15, then I can get this airplane and all of these airplanes fixed. So I think I'm going to forego supplying that one in Norway again. I'll do that next turn when I don't have sorties on the guy in Germany. So I'm done with the Axis operations phase. As per my usual check here, I'm going to do a quick check on time, and I probably will come back and add, maybe just split this up into German and then Western and Soviet. So I will be back with a quick recap or a continuation, depending on how long this took for me to record. So I'm right around 22 minutes or so. I think I'm going to go ahead and split this right here at the end of the German operations phase. The West doesn't have much to do, and the Russians have a couple of attacks, and then we'll go right on into replacements. I could try to jam it all into one video, but then I'd get up to around an hour. And that's the one thing I have heard from some people, is that keep them down to that 20-minute, 25-minute, 30-minute kind of thing. If I can keep them under 45 minutes, that seems to be the best choice for everybody, because it's a nice little chunk that you can watch, and then you can just go on to the next one. So, for now, this is Dren608. You've been watching the Me, Myself, and I playthrough of Unconditional Surrender's main event scenario. This was the April 1942 turn. I gotta get that right. Through the Axis operations phase. We will pick up next time, starting with the Western operations phase. As a matter of fact, I'll put the turn track, put the sequence play right there. Leave me comments, good or bad. I need to know what I'm doing good and what I'm doing bad. If you like what you see, please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of this game. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.